All right, Rodney. Black Monday this week, we saw several firings across the NFL, from Gerard Mayo in New England after just one season to Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas after his first full season. Even Titans general manager Rand Carthon was fired after just 2 seasons down in Tennessee. There's been a lot of discourse, though, on social media about whether or not black head coaches and general managers are given a shorter leash than their white counterparts. And what do you make of this, Rodney?
You can make a case that that's what's going on here. I don't understand how Brian Daboll is still employed. I don't get that. Brian Callahan also still employed. Usually the leash does seem to feel a lot shorter for black head coaches. What I'm trying to get away from on the Fumble is like making everything about race, but race being a lot of situations, it really is a factor. I know y'all might get tired of it, but I swear to God, like, until you in it in the inner sanctum of what's going on, you might not fully understand the magnitude of how much race plays a factor in so many different decisions. And yes, that even includes sports. So I'm going to say that it feels like at times, let me lower my tone. I'm yelling. Sorry. It feels like at times there is a disregard for black employment. Right? Like it feels like we are just a lot easier to discard of. And for whatever reason, white head coaches, especially in the NFL, seem to get a longer leash and more opportunities to correct whatever poor play their team has had the year prior.
I feel like general managers or anybody in the front office, owners, they're not really taking into account situations when they fire black head coaches, right? Because Gerard Mayo was in a horrible situation. He's having to clean up the mess that Bill Belichick left. Like he's been like running that franchise into the ground for the last couple of seasons. And then he says, hey, I want Gerard Mayo to take over for me. And everybody was like, oh, great. Just for him to be fired after one season. And this is a guy that is completely acclimated to the New England way, the culture that they've built there. So that was very interesting to me. And then Antonio Pierce, who galvanized this team last season, he has Gardner Minshew as the starting quarterback this year, and y'all think that he's supposed to go anything other than 4-13. But yeah, you mentioned like Brian Callahan, right? I was in Tennessee, so I was there when he got hired. I was there when Rand Carthon got hired. Yeah. And this Rand Carthon, and I don't want to get on a soapbox, but Rand Carthon literally got everybody that Miss Amy wanted. That's the owner. He got Calvin Ridley.
I don't like you calling her Miss Amy. I don't like you calling her Miss Amy.
That's what we call her.
That sounds like you saying Meemaw or something. I don't like it. But go ahead.
That's what everybody calls her, Miss Amy. I don't know. That's just what we call her. I don't know. But everybody that Miss Amy wanted and that Callahan wanted, he got. He got Tony Pollard. He got Calvin Ridley on the defensive side of the ball. He got Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, L'Jarius Sneed, Chidobe Awuzie. Like, y'all spent good money, but the guy who coached them is still there.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they went 3-14 in the worst division in the NFL, the AFC South.
It feels like people have better relationships with people that come from their world. And a lot of times, a lot of these jobs are afforded to people. We can look at Cliff Kingsbury some years ago in Arizona, right? Like, he had no reason to go from being a losing head coach in college football to a head NFL coach. And we saw how quickly he flamed out. But the relationship that he had cultivated, outside of Arizona is what afforded him the luxury of having this job. And so when there's like a relationship established, that means that there's a level of connectivity, and empathy. And so I think maybe even more so than race, because I don't want to only say that race is the sole contributing factor to these black coaches being fired after one season. I think established relationships are also at play here, because there have been a list of white coaches who've been fired after one season. We have Jim Mora, Urban Meyer, Freddie Kitchen, Chip Kelly, Frank Reich, Nathaniel Hackett. So there have been white coaches who have been terminated. But some of those guys have,
like the Reich guy, Frank Reich, he was a head coach before that. So that was his second opportunity to go mess up. We don't get
now that is a different conversation. Yes, The opportunities for black head
Okay.
coaches are far and few between. So you're 1,000% right. The Rooney Rule was put into place for a reason. Now, do teams actually use the Rooney Rule as a real method of which to hire a non-white head coach? No, but the Rooney Rule was inserted for a specific reasons, for the opportunity for black head coaches to, or not even just black, but non-white head coaches to be given the opportunity to have a conversation, for a position. And so, but they don't have these relationships, and that's what it boils down to. There is a distinct difference between being a player and being in the front office or being the son of a coach. Like when you're a player, you are looked at as a product. You are looked at as a worker. And when you are in upper management, or when you are the son of somebody who's a football person, a football man, then you are looked at as a football man through and through, not just a depreciating asset.
I mean, you're absolutely right, because what other reason would Robert Kraft decide to fire Gerard Mayo? He literally said, I did not give him the tools that he needed to be successful here, but I'm still going to fire him.
Well, it also is because he won that last game. They might have been planning to fire him prior to that game. They probably were. But winning that last game was also... He did that. He was like, oh, word? So he might have caught wind of it, but that last win for sure is what cost him his job. It didn't help.
I mean, the fact that the NFL has to have like a minority coaching clinic,
yeah,
that just tells you everything that you need to know about that. But anyway, for those,
I don't want to make it race. I don't want to make it.
But I'm
race,
just saying,
race.
for those relationships, that's what it was all about. It was all about getting these young black coaches in front of owners, because they don't have the relationships. You're right. But you all let us know down in the comments, what did you make of some of the firings across the NFL this week? And which one did you think was the worst? We want to hear from you.